Hello and welcome back to another 6-scale figure review with me, your host, That Mania. And today we have, finally, a little late on this one, Baylan Skoll from Ahsoka. This is one that I've definitely been looking forward to. Probably one of the ones I was looking forward to most from the show after they really start popping out every little thing from the show. Obviously, Ahsoka and Sabine was a big one. Thrawn was a big one. But I think after those three, I don't know how to count. After those three, this is probably the one I was the most excited for because he was, presented really well in the show. He had a lot of interesting things going on about him. Him and Shin. Other than that, the Ahsoka series just kind of popped out a bunch of random Hot Toy stuff that I could be less interested in the long run. But this is definitely one that I've been excited to get in hand because I have been very, very, yeah. So here's the box, pretty straightforward Star Wars like we're used to. Picture of the guy, littler picture of the guy, black box through and through. That's a sheath cover or a open at one. So it's much better. I love Star Wars boxes. Nice, simple Star Wars boxes make my life happy. But, there's only so much to talk about the box, so why don't we get him out of the box? So, I'd love to start out by saying that this guy has a very imposingly big presence. Like, he's got a bigger stature about him, broader shoulders, bigger body. So it definitely helps with his more subtly intimidating look to him. But for the most part, his outfit, while being kind of complicated, is also extremely simple. There's a lot of little complicated things on there, but it's a very straightforward, simple design that I absolutely love. I think this is a great look, despite it being very monotone color-wise. There are those slight little splashes of color. Very, very rare, but, they do exist. So it's a very interesting look overall, and I'm very excited to get Shin at some point to see them both together. I was really worried that Hot Toys was going to skip these two completely. I'm very happy that they didn't, and now it's just a matter of waiting on his apprentice so I can have both of them together. But let's get him off of the spinning turntable here and actually get into the nitty-gritty of talking about this guy. So Baylan doesn't really come with a crazy amount of stuff. He doesn't really need a crazy amount of stuff. He's got his lightsaber that has this very nice design. I like the way it kind of points out at the front. It's a longer one, so he's got a lot of length and grip to it. It's definitely a nice design. Bit different than what I'm used to seeing in a Star Wars. And it does just clip onto his belt for nice belt clipping action. He's got his blade, which is a more orangey color, which is good because it's not red so much in the show as it is more of like an orangey hue. He's got, the normal, we do the wire lightsaber now thing. That's okay. And then we've got the cloak that he wears at some points in the show. The hood wire is crazy, and I'll show you that a little bit later on. But let's get in here and actually talk about the figure. Yep. Oh, he didn't want to talk. I gotta move closer. I sat too far back. So Baylan here has a really nice head sculpt that my only concern is at some angles it kind of makes him look like he's got open old mouth, old man open mouth syndrome, where sometimes it'll kind of look weird depending on which way you're looking at it, and it's mainly just shadow wise. But the expression is good. It's a nice neutral expression, which for him is absolutely fine because he doesn't really need a crazy expression. This is pretty much nails it. Oh my god, my nose is all stuffed up. As soon as I was fine, and then as soon as I started recording, my nose just filled with gunk. The texturing on his skin is really, really nice. They've nailed this kind of like older, gruffer look to it. It looks even better in person, which, you know, as it always does, the camera adds 10 years off of your life, I guess. But I absolutely love this sculpt. I think they even did a good enough job on the beard where it doesn't look too one piece. It does, you can see there's definitely definition in there. Like there's a little, I think they did a very good job. And the hair also looks fantastic for the most part. Hot Toys, for what I thought they would try to just do a throwaway figure, actually did a very good job at this sculpt. And I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they didn't just try to like throw it out there and call it a day like Hot Toys likes to do every now and then. I'm glad that they did indeed put effort into this figure, because if they hadn't, I feel like would have A, disrespected the legacy of the man, and B, I just feel like people would have you know, been extremely unhappy if Hot Toys had screwed this one up, because a lot of people really like, I was just a Baze Malbus. A lot of people really, really like, I've forgotten his name all of a sudden. Baylan Skoll. I don't know. It's early. I'm recording early. I don't know what I'm doing. But let's move on to the armor here, which has this kind of like triangular pattern on the front and the back, and it's got like this normal line pattern on the shoulder here. This is a very interesting yet, like I said, some subtly complicated, where it looks nice and simple, but it's also got like complexity to it. Like you could see the ribbing here on the lines. It's not just like a straight line. There is like little subtle texture ribbing, which looks really nice. I like the way that comes off. It's got a nice little fabric suit underneath, which allows him to have a bit more posability, which is good. The one thing I don't quite feel is these shoulders. I don't know. Like the way they look, I like the way they look, but at the same time, it's got like almost like it definitely is a plasticky look to it. I don't know if it's the shape or the sculpt, but something about it just like feels lesser quality than everything else. And it's probably because whereas everything else is more of a fabric material, this is actually a sculpted piece. But it just, I don't know, it feels off. It's not bad. It just feels a little weird when I look at it for slightly too long. So I'll try not to. We do have his gauntlets here, which are symmetrical. He's got buttons on both sides, as if he was Buzz Lightyear. Except for Buzz Lightyear has two different kinds of buttons. But yeah, he's got symmetrical gauntlets here, which is nice, because usually you just get the buttons on one side and not the other. I wonder why he needs them on both. On the left hand, he does have his big green ring, so he can construct green constructs with his willpower. Forgot about this. He's also got green on his belt, which is pretty much, those spots of green are pretty much the only like spaces of color on this whole thing, because other than that, it's nice mute colors like browns and grays. On the back here, we do have all these little clips holding it together, which adds a nice little flare of, I don't really know how to describe that, but it's got a nice look to it. Kind of feels like the spine of the suit in Dead Space, with the way it's like spaced out and got this like connective weave to it. I like it. It's nice. It's got some silver to it, so it's a little bit brighter, stands out a bit more. We bring him back around. We have the black skirted area, similar to normal Jedi. You can see it's got the black behind the gray here. And if you keep going, it is ripped frayed at the bottom, so it adds some life to it. Like it's been worn for a while. It's not fresh. We've got these boots here, which are split cut. This is just a piece that kind of sits down, kind of just floats around. If you're not carefully watching it like that, you see it moved. But it's nice. It's got some really crazy good weathering to it. These have been worn for a long time. They're old as hell, and they look really nice. So we do have the other option of putting him in the cloak thing. So if you take his head off and you put the cloak around and you decide, you're like, oh, he needs his head back on. You pop that back on. I always forget about the Hot Toys headpiece, and I hate them. I don't know if I've ever said that enough. I hate these Hot Toys solution because they don't work. Give me one moment. So I've got it back on, and the head is on in quotations. So this pretty much just gives him that cloaked look that you see him in every now and then. It does have a hood, and the hood has a really, really nice wire. I feel like most hoods should be like this. I get that this piece is indeed thicker, but I've never been able to get a look quite like this out of a hood. Obviously, it's not perfect, but I just threw that together. There's no point at the top. Palpatine hood always has a point. The Damn Toys Ezio has a point at the top. I feel like it's just crazy to not have a point at the top, and it makes me super happy. But the rest of the cloak also looks really good. It's just very unhappy in the light. You can see it also has some fraying at the bottom, just as worn. There is a wire in the cloak itself, so it does have some posability there. But all in all, I'm probably gonna end up with this look, not the hood maybe, but like with the cloak on, because I really like the way he looks with the cloak on more than with it off. But you know, we gotta get through the video first before we make that decision completely. So let's move on to comparing him with, I don't know, someone else. So here he is with Ahsoka, the Mandalorian version, because I still don't have the Ahsoka series version, you know. So he is taller than her, which, you know, checks out because he is taller than her. He is bigger than her, which checks out because he is bigger than her. And he's white, and that checks out because he's white and not orange. All good things. These two look great next to each other. I can't wait to get the Actually, no, she does wear this outfit when they fight anyway, right? So, at least when he drops her off the thing. Not the, that final fight at the end. That's an interesting fight. Not one we're usually used to. But, so it's not like you don't see these two together in outfits similar to this. So this does make sense. Obviously, my Ahsoka does have a broken arm, because everybody's Ahsoka at this point probably has the broken arm. So I'm not going to have these two fight. I'm going to wait till I get, you know, the other Ahsoka, and then we will see if we do some fighting stuff. Because, like, this is just broken completely, man. It ain't fighting no more. It's fighting to stay on, if anything. But yes, I'm super happy to have these two together. I'm super happy to slowly getting the rest of the Ahsoka figures that I wanted. I probably should have grabbed Sabine, but I forgot to. But these are the two that I wanted to show together anyway. And now we just wait for Shin. And then we'll pretty much... Shin and Ahsoka, yeah, the other Ahsoka. And we'll pretty much have everything I needed from the show. Now that we've talked about this, why don't we move on and talk about articulation? So, life ending 360 degrees, as always. Head goes up that far and down that far, so not much. Back and forth. Arm goes up that far. This is Velcroed on, so technically you go slightly further, but I mean, why would you? You got no shoulder armor on anymore. Arm goes up about that far. Arm goes back a bit further than it goes forward. And you get a pretty good bend at the elbow. There is no crunch. This is all padding and such. Pretty good leg spread. Up that far. Back a little bit more than I would have expected. Good ankle bend or knee bend. and then freedom at the ankle due to these nice split cut boots, which makes me a very happy boy. So Baylan can get his cool kind of like knight stances. You can do what he needs to. He's got his more stoic poses. Get pretty much anything you need out of this guy that he could do. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on to the end of the video. So all in all, Baylan Skoll here is a really nice figure. They really put some good effort into it, and I'm fairly happy to say that they did a good job. It definitely looks like him, feels like him. It's got pretty much all the accessories he would possibly need to be him, and it looks good. I like the weird orange lightsaber that they don't really talk about all that much. It's orange for whatever reason. They want to trick you. They're like, oh, it's the dark side, but then you look at it again, and it's like, oh, it's orange. You know, it's a weird one. But I like it. It's a nice, simple outfit, but it definitely has so much life to it. There's a lot going there that is interesting. It fits the character that it's wearing it. I like this outfit a lot. I would wear this outfit. You know, I'd walk around in like the mall with this outfit on. Probably without the weapon, but you know, I would. But you can see here, you can kind of get that open old mouth look if you look at it when it's like straight up the front, just because like the shadow and stuff from like the nose above and all that yada yada. But other than that, I absolutely adore this figure. I think it is a great rendition of Baylan Skoll. I don't know, other than, I don't know, maybe not having a horrible neck peg, and maybe the top part of the boot not being so loose around his leg. I don't know how they could have made this figure any better, because it really is just really good. And I think it has a lot to do with the simplicity of the overall design. It's not too overly complicated, so they could focus on other things like making sure the head sculpt is good and making sure that, you know, it gets to where it needs to be, which is this right here. I'm very happy with it, and I hope you're happy with it. I hope you've picked this guy up and you're extremely happy to have him, because he is a worthwhile endeavor, especially, you know, if you enjoyed him in the Ahsoka series. Definitely a great pickup, and, you know, we'll just have to hope that Shin continues that trend. But I'm worried because, you know, Hot Toys and women always have like a weird relationship where they're sometimes good and sometimes really mediocre. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But for now, I'm very happy, and I hope that you've picked this guy up, because he is definitely going to make you happy too. If you did pick this guy up, or any of the figure from Ahsoka, let me know which ones, what you got, what you didn't get, because there's a lot in that line. Ahsoka really got made. What would you have wanted them to make from the show as opposed to what they did make? Did you want Hu Yang instead of, I don't know, a Darth Maul Death Watch Commando? Weird choice on their part, but you know, it is what it is. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like and subscribe, because the channel's been doing really nicely recently, and I'd love to keep that momentum up, because that momentum means we moving, and we schmoving in hard. We living it up big style, boys. That's what we've been doing, and I'm all the more for it. And with all of that out of the way, I've been me, and you've been you, and thank you for watching another 6-scale figure review. Hopefully you join me next time when we review something maybe new. I will see you then.